Welcome to the What Is She Even Reading podcast.
I'm Claire, and I love to read.
I'm Jeremy, and I don't.
Join us each week as we read through some of today's most popular books as Jeremy discovers what is she even reading. Hello, and welcome to What Is She Even Reading? I'm Claire.
I'm Jeremy.
And we're excited to be back for another episode on Iron Flame.
Yep.
By Rebecca Yarros.
Yep.
Today we're reading chapters 9 through 11. So, reminder, this will contain spoilers for all of Fourth Wing and now for Iron Flame up to chapter 11. So, if you haven't read Fourth Wing or started Iron Flame, go read those and then come back and listen to this. But yeah. Are you ready?
I think so.
We got a lot to cover.
Yes. There's only 3 chapters, but decent amount happened.
Yeah, it was kind of like a exciting little group of chapters.
Yeah.
Some like what? A little cliffhanger. Some cliffhangers. A little bit. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, reminder of where we left off. Chapter 8. They were in formation. Varrish's crazy dragon had just torched some riders, including non-first years. And then Taryn came in and put him in his place. So then, chapter 9, opening quote is from United Navarre, his study in survival, about how the green dragons of the... I have no idea.
Yeah, try. Please try.
Wayne Lloyd Sig line? Wayne Lloyd Sig line? Anyway, some crazy name offered the hatching grounds for the good of dragonkind, and the wards were woven by the first 6. So, interesting that's why that veil was chosen, I guess.
Yeah.
But I guess a little bit about the history. So then, classic fashion, it jumps ahead.
Yes.
It's only the next morning. Violet's waking up. She seems to have had nightmares or something.
Yeah.
Apparently going to go running with Imogen, just randomly.
Well, I think she's going running, and then Imogen decides she'll join her.
Oh, I thought she was going running with... I thought she knew Imogen went running.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought she was going running and Imogen has been watching her. Because she said something like, she said, I'm not watching you, but my room is just above yours. So my question was, like, is she having, like, nightmares where she's, like, crying or screaming? Or is she throwing lightning in there in her nightmares? And that's why Imogen can't sleep either,
right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I don't think that detail matters.
I don't think so. She's going running.
Yeah.
She's a runner now.
Well, because she told Imogen, because she's afraid she's not going to, like... She's good at short bursts, but she's not sure she'll make it if it's any longer than that.
Yeah, she wants to run because Soleil didn't make it.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's understandable. So then we learn that Xaden did not show up for his visit last night.
Yeah, which I think we talked about in the last episode, that she was waiting on him. Yeah,
waiting for him.
And then I guess he didn't show up.
And so I was thinking, what happened to him? Something obviously
happened. Were you worried?
He's obviously been killed already. Then Rhiannon shows up. She was in a leadership meeting. Bodhi apparently got moved into flame section. So
Convenient.
The whole stay away from Bodhi is going to become harder. And they're restructuring since most of Third Squad was torched by Soulless, or whatever his name is. Then Rhiannon is confused as to why she's running with Imogen.
Yeah.
Says she wants to run because Soleil didn't make it. Then it, again, jumps ahead to battle brief later that day. Riddick makes fun of the first years and their quills and ink. Again with these stupid pins. I literally wrote,
oh my gosh, here we go again with the dumb pins. I'm just so sick of hearing about them. I'm not going to go on the rant again. You all know how I feel.
I think they need, if they're going to be this prominent, they need to have a bigger role. Like, that needs to be, the key to something is the pen.
So, are you telling me that all those poor scribes are translating things, writing things down, and they're wandering around with a quill and ink pot instead of, because they don't have magic.
They have a printing press.
I don't understand. I don't.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, what time period is this supposed to be? Anyways, we're not going to go on that rant again because I've already given my rant.
They have purple hair dye, but not...
They have indoor plumbing.
But not even just a fountain pen.
Just like a regular pen.
Just don't think about it too much.
Unless it's just like the professors will not let them have anything but an ink and pen. I mean, like a quill and pen. A quill and ink. Whatever. See, even I can't say it. Like, is it one of those, like, we're going old school because we had to do it?
Maybe, yeah.
I had professors that wouldn't let me use a nice calculator because of that, but...
I don't know.
Just... I don't want to go on the rant again, but I literally wrote, here we go again with these dumb pens.
It didn't go on about him too long, so it really
but they
was
had to
just...
mention them
they did
again.
have to mention them again, just in case you forgot.
Maybe she was listening to my rant about the pens.
She could have been.
Probably not. There's no way.
So then, Deborah's up there, and then Markham's there, and she wants to throw her daggers at him because she thinks that he must know everything, right? Because he's head scribe or whatever.
Yeah, this whole battle brief, she's not really paying much attention. She's just mad.
Yeah. Because Markham starts saying there was 2 attacks by drifts of griffins in the past week, 1 an hour's flight from Montserrat, which is really high altitude. She always notes that. It seems like they were looking for something and no mention of civilian casualties.
Yeah.
Because Riddick said something about, that's what they get going after civilians. And I was like, they didn't say. She thought to herself, I think.
Yeah.
They didn't mention civilian casualties. And then the second one was the outpost of Athbean. And Violet is shocked and drops her pen. And they're all like, yes, Miss Sorrengo, or Cadet Sorrengo. And she says something about it being odd.
Also, how would a quill pen make that much noise? Sorry. I'm back on the pins. It wouldn't clatter. It's a feather.
Well, that's assuming the pins, the feathers, are feathers. I thought in my mind, the pins that they had were like a proper pin. It just requires magic to use it.
I'm imagining like a feather pin, like a true quill.
Yeah, that's what the first years use. I think everyone else...
No, because I think they still use it. They just have the magic to... No. Oh, maybe they have self-inking pens. You're right.
But it requires magic to work.
They can make a self-inking...
Anyway, the pen makes noise as it falls.
I can't let go about the pens.
The pen doesn't matter.
It does. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, but it's not... These people ride dragons. It doesn't need to make sense.
Whatever.
Okay. So she said something about it being odd that the outpost was attacked directly. And Markham seems suspicious of her, and she's kind of suspicious of him. Again,
I guess this is her first introduction back into the quote-unquote, I guess it's not a quote-unquote, lies, right? Yeah. Like, it's kind of her first experience back in the... She knows the things information. Now she's like questioning everything that she knew. So I guess she's just having a crisis, basically. Yeah. But I mean, the whole time it kind of talks about how like her lightning is like just like stirring underneath.
Bum, bum. What?
Didn't we talk about that the last time?
Did we?
Did she have a big scene with the lightning?
She threw some in the courtyard or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like she has anger issues.
She probably does. I mean, her nickname is Violence, after all.
Yeah, but that didn't ever make any sense.
I mean, it did when she was throwing the lightning at Jack and
yeah, but she was never violent. That was, I never understood. I thought it was ironic. Anyways, keep going.
Okay, so then Rhiannon asks you a question about if the attack was due to it being unoccupied or war games. And kind of blah, 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 and just kind of go on and on. Markham says that the trading post of Resson was leveled by Poramish unrest a couple of weeks ago. And obviously that's not true, right? She's Violet saying unrest. That's obviously BS. And so Violet's getting all mad and heated about his lies. So then she asks where the Griffin Riders were found, apparently near the armory, and she connects the dots that they were looking for the special weapons. Because, again, no civilian casualties or anything, right? Then I wrote down Caroline Ashton seems like a warmonger. Because she said she wanted to destroy a few villages as a show of force.
Yeah, it is a little bit of I feel like, yeah. But I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, no, we don't do that. We will defend ourselves, but we do not do that. And then she starts wondering if the whole presentation was a lie, and that it was actually Venom and Wyvern that attacked. But then Devra says that she was hurt by a rider with excellent aim of her bow, which still could be lying.
That's what she was like, oh, it must be true. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I didn't get that either.
I don't think she has any reason to be, especially truthful.
Yeah.
So I think it was not what it was portrayed as.
Well, I mean, of course not. Because I feel like in the last book, we saw that the Griffins are not necessarily just like, or the Griffins and their riders aren't necessarily just
attacking.
Yeah. Like they're not trying to kill everyone.
They come in
they kind of are
look for the thing.
Well, obviously we know their purpose, but yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so then after class, she goes up to Bodhi, says she wants to help.
Yeah, and he's like, absolutely not.
Yeah, he's all annoyed because he was specifically told to keep her from helping. And
then she's annoyed that he's like, won't.
Yeah.
I know she wants to help, and a lot of this is her being like, no one tells me anything, but she is only a second year. She has, barely. She just became a second year.
Yeah.
Girl, you know nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Calm down. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you agree?
No, I agree.
She's kind of sticking her nose in, and these people are like, you're only in this because you accidentally got involved in it,
Pretty much, yeah.
So.
I mean, I think it's good that she wants to help, but at the same time, it's like...
Yeah, but then she's annoyed that no one will tell her anything. And
yeah.
I mean, I get it. I would probably be annoyed too, but I guess we have the outside perspective. But I don't know.
So Bodhi and Imogen, you really shut her down from helping. Then Rhiannon says that she thinks this school is hiding something from them.
I know, dun dun
which
dun.
Violet slightly gets excited, she's thinking the same thing. She's
She
getting
knows.
there. She's connecting the dots. But then she says something that she thinks something is going on in the healer's quadrant, and that they're weirdly guarding Nolan.
Yeah, she says he looks terrible.
Yeah.
And I guess is it Varrish? Varrish is there with him, being come along,
Yeah.
So
Maybe it's related, but it's not what Violet thought she
Yeah.
was going to say. Which is disappointing.
Well, I mean, what do you think that's something?
I mean, obviously.
What do you think it is?
I don't know.
No idea.
No clue.
I mean, I think Riddick said that.
Unless it's just a bunch of actual riders that are getting hurt by the venom and whatnot, and they're just hiding them away.
Yeah, maybe. Riddick thinks that Nolan is healing them as Varrish is torturing them.
Yeah, that's another possibility.
I mean, that's what he said in the book.
But,
so.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But so then she reads that book,
and she kind of is like they talk about that, and then she's like, "Okay, bye."
Yeah.
Wouldn't you have more I wonder. Whatever. Wouldn't you be concerned? Because she knows him very well. I don't know.
Yeah. So then she reads the book that Jacinia gave her, but she's disappointed because she already knows most of what it says.
She's surprised. She's not disappointed. She's like, oh, I'm a little shocked, but not really that this didn't have all the information that I needed. Of course not.
The first book that she gave you wasn't going to have everything you needed. It wasn't just going to be, how the words were woven
Yeah,
at
like,
Basgiath.
it's not that easy if you've never read it before. Are you stupid?
I mean, she might be sometimes. But it's assessment day, which I had completely forgotten about.
Yeah.
It was so long ago. Professor Imaterio's back after
Is he your
a
favorite?
long absence. I don't know. He's back. And so they have the assessment matches. And I was wondering, do the second years have to do this?
I don't think so because they're not assessing
That's
them.
what I thought. But they're all standing
But
around.
she makes a note. I think it's in this chapter that she needs to start looking at the board again.
Yeah, she's
So
going to
it's
get
not
her poisoning going again.
So she's not assessing, but I think she will have to
She will have
spar.
to do the challenges.
Yeah. So,
just not the...
so no, I think that she's just there because her squad is there.
Yeah. So Rhiannon thinks Violet has been avoiding her, which she kind of has.
Yeah.
And then the next pair up is Sloane and Arik. Eric, Cam, whatever his name is.
I think it's Arik.
Arik.
But then Sloane's like, no, I want you instead to Violet.
Just like, Jesus, Sloane. Quit trying to act so tough.
Well, it's a very bold thing to say.
Yeah.
Considering we know that she can't fight.
Well, we know that now, but...
Well, yeah. But I know, but like...
Sloane should know that...
Well, she should know herself that she can't fight.
But she's saying something... Yeah, Imogen had sent her a letter the previous year after she fought Violet. And, like snapped her arm or shoulder or whatever. So that's her only knowledge of Violet's ability. She doesn't know that she spent the whole rest of the year basically training with Imogen and
I know,
Xaden
I'm talking about Sloane should know that herself
Oh, I know. But
was not trained to fight. So I guess she's thinking, she's
thinking,
an easy...
Oh, yeah, she doesn't know how to
I guess,
fight.
but even then, I don't know if I would challenge someone who's been there the whole year.
Yeah, who made it through the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways.
And so Immaterio says no to the request.
Because he's not stupid.
Yeah. And then I said, oh, great. That aggressive guy from the parapet is back. When someone says Sorengale, he perks up and says, Sorengale?
Yeah, because you thought like, oh, here we go about the mom again, right?
Yeah. And then I missed this part when I first read the paragraph, but Nadine acts and says, I'm Violet Sorengale.
Because it's supposed to be funny.
Right, she's making a joke. And then he just snaps her neck.
Yeah, what a way
Just
to
done.
end the chapter.
Yeah.
Weren't you shocked?
Yeah. I was like, wait, what?
And then like last episode you were like, why are they talking about Nadine so much? And I'm thinking,
I don't care about Nadine.
just keep waiting. She has a purpose.
Wait 2 more chapters.
I mean, I felt bad for her because she's literally like, oh my God, these people can't let you go, basically.
I know, you're so popular today.
Yeah. I'm Violet Sorengale.
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh.
But it's like, who the hell is this guy? Why is he such a piece of crap?
Yeah, so that was the end of the chapter.
That was the end of the chapter.
So then chapter 10 opens with...
See, now, at this point, I did think he was going to be related to Jack Barlow.
You did think, you thought he was like his brother or something?
The Jack Barlow Jr. assessment was going to be real.
Yeah.
But I feel like if he had been...
legitimately
related to Jack Barlow. Because she obviously killed him. And surely somehow that information could have gotten to him. But I think if that had been the case, they probably would have said... Yes. She would have perked up at the name Barlow.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, so chapter 10 opens with, I think a note to General Sorengale that it's not unheard of for a candidate that enters the Writer's Quadrant to have been paid to assassinate another cadet, which I'm like, of course not.
What the hell is this place?
Of course it's not. Right? I don't understand. Why are they killing everyone? Why? I don't get it. I know you're not supposed to get it. I know it's supposed to be a violent school, but...
what is this place? Not even just the college, but the whole country.
This isn't I don't think this is a spoiler, but later in the book, there's kind of like a note on this. And I wish I could tell you right now because it's funny, but when you get there, you'll be like, I know what she was talking about. That doesn't spoil anything. It's just kind of like I don't understand why they would be like, General Sorrengail, someone tried to kill Mira, your oldest daughter, but don't worry about it. This normally happens.
This isn't unheard of. It's not that bad.
What?
Yeah.
So, of course, it jumps right back. Well, luckily.
Jumps right in. Back
in the action to Nadine falling to the ground.
She's dead.
And then the guy is surprised when Rhiannon calls her, like, oh no, Nadine. And then Violet, of course, is shocked. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, no one interfere. And like pulls out 2 daggers, like, and I'm kind of going, why? Why? Girl.
Because she's got to be big and bad, big and tough.
I was a little like, I don't know if you can take him, you know? Also, like, why isn't the professor doing something? You know, like, why are we... Anyways, I guess it shows how she's matured. She's more of a fighter.
Yes.
Because, I mean, spoiler, she does kill him. Yeah. So...
Well, I think somewhere they said it was something about the codex or something. Like, because he's not in her squad or whatever, and they can't interfere.
I don't get it. It's assessment day. You're not supposed to kill people. Anyways, I seem to always get these action scenes that I hate taking notes on.
Yeah, I've got some details.
She pulls 2 daggers. She throws them at him. They're in his forearm, and he's like, meh, whatever. Yeah. She manages to like somehow swipe out his knees.
Yeah, so she uses Xaden's advice. She runs at him, and then slices his knee so he can't stand.
And then he's like pulling her along the mat.
And he throws one of her daggers at her. Then he kicks her to the ground and then starts pulling her.
Which that's when she starts freaking out a little bit, like, oh no.
It's not looking good for her at this point.
She's kicking him, she breaks his nose. He rolls onto her, so she's pinned to the ground now. Mm-hmm. And of course he's strangling her, because that seems to be how they want to kill her a lot.
Why not just snap her neck too?
Because he's got to whisper and be dramatic that secrets die with the people who kill them. Or keep them, not kill them. Keep them.
Who have we heard that from before?
I don't know. You tell me.
Colonel Athos.
Yeah, so
that piece of crap.
She's like, oh, he's trying to kill me, right? Mm-hmm. Somehow she manages to get a dagger and she stabs him over and over again.
Just like Xaden taught her.
Yep.
Goes for the kidney.
Yeah.
And then he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. They pull him off. She kind of freaks out. They pull her off of her. And it was that was obviously a very scaled down scene, because she does write a lot about these things, but I get like,
lost in the details.
Yeah, it's a little confusing to read sometimes.
It's a fight scene.
Yeah.
And she kills him.
Dane comes up, and he seems legitimately concerned.
He does.
And he's like, are you all right? And she's freaking out because his dad tried to kill her.
Right.
Of course, she can't say anything. And then he still is looking worried and offers her just a hand, not like, let me touch your face, anything. And she freaks out and yells at him like, don't touch me. I feel kind of bad for him. Because at the end of the day, this is still his childhood friend.
True. So I've got some thoughts on Dane. So obviously, I think he took her memories and then knew that Xaden was going off to Athbean. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if he knew. I don't know if he told his dad, "Hey, this Xaden guy's going off to Athbean or whatever, sneaking off," or if maybe his dad somehow took his memories. Maybe that's his signet too. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think he knew that he was sending? Like, do you think he knew his dad's plans?
I don't think. I'm starting to think he might not have known.
Yeah, it wasn't as maliciously intended as you might have, we were led to believe at the end of the last book.
A little bit, yeah.
I'm not confirming nor denying.
Just a little bit.
You feel like he's not as bad as. Are you feeling bad for the guy?
A little, every now and then, a little bit, because he seems fairly genuine.
Yeah.
And then she uses the dead guy's uniform to wipe his blood off her blades, which is pretty badass. Like,
Yeah. I mean, imagine being, they note this, but imagine being a first year. You're just like, it's your first assessment day, and you're already scared. And then she's like, and then kills a guy. A girl has gotten her neck snapped, and then she just like stabs a dude.
Yeah.
Which I guess happened on someone. Jack Barlow snapped someone's neck. But that was alarming too. But at that, like, this college is crazy. Why would you ever enter? Side note, now that you've read a little bit about this world, what would you become? A scribe, a healer, infantry, or a rider?
I don't know. I mean, the riders do sound the coolest because you get to ride a dragon.
But you have to go through this terrible, terrible school. What's your thing right now?
We don't know how terrible the infantry may be. And they're probably a bunch of losers. They don't get to do anything cool. The scribes don't do anything cool. The healers don't do anything cool.
So your vote is you would be a rider.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
I think I would go into the healer quadrant or the scribe quadrant. I mean, it'd be cool to fly, but I don't think I have the temperament to be able to be like, yeah, sure, snap that girl's neck over there, and I'm cool.
Right.
I'm going to see at the end of this book what your vote is, if you still want to be in the writer's quadrant.
Okay.
Anyways, she picks up her daggers, wipes them off, like you said. Immaterio comes up and is like, "Can I touch you?"
He says, "May I touch you?"
Yeah, which is very
he's
respectful.
Very
yeah. Nice. And then he
says she's concussed.
Yeah, I guess that's his signet. They can tell,
yeah, I don't
or
know.
Is he just like being
You
medically?
might just be able to look at her and be like, "Oh, you've got a concussion."
And he's like, "Do you want to leave?" And she's like, "No." And she just, what we learn later, she just goes about her day.
Yeah.
Well, okay. First years are like, what the heck have happened? Like, it's just happened. And then they just like continue on, like, because at this point, Sloane and Auric haven't actually.
Mm-hmm. And in all of this, Riddick again says, "It's always something here."
Riddick is my favorite character.
Yeah. He needs to be more prevalent.
I think he's very funny, and he provides a lot of comedic relief for this very terrible. He's saying what we're all thinking, right?
Yeah.
But, so Sloane and Auric are about to start sparring or whatever. Yeah. And someone is like, "LOL," and you wanted to take her on. And I don't think she thinks that's funny, but.
Also, did you note that Immaterio thinks that the guy was sent as a message to her mother?
No, I didn't know
Okay,
that.
yeah, that's what he thought.
Oh.
And he said the same thing happened to Mira.
Oh, yeah,
which
yeah.
ties back to the quote at the beginning.
Yeah.
But obviously we know that this one is unrelated to her mother.
Yeah.
Just thought that was a good
Yeah. So, Sloane is terrible on the mat.
This is when we learn that she's terrible.
She looks like she spent no time training, which apparently she hasn't. She wasn't fostered with the fighters.
What does that mean?
Why wasn't she? She knew she was coming to this school. Why didn't they?
She didn't get a choice, I guess.
And that's kind of the end of that. Violet then just goes about the rest of her day.
Goes to class.
Concussed. Okay. She basically is like, "I don't feel good. I'm not eating dinner." Yeah. Of course you don't. You have a concussion, and you've gone to class like normal. I mean, you can't go to sleep either, but you probably shouldn't just be like, la, 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 you know?
Yeah.
Maybe go see the doctor, the healer. Anyway, she goes up to her room and Xaden's there.
About time.
I know. He, of course, is mad and wishes he could have killed him. And she's like, "Who?" Also,
she still has the dude's blood on her.
Yeah, she didn't
no
go
one
clean
wiped
up.
It off. She didn't wipe it off.
She just is walking around with a strangled neck, a concussion, and then blood all over her. Yeah, because she's like, "It's not mine."
Yeah.
I would have at least washed my face in the bathroom.
Yeah.
they kind of, he's mad basically.
Yeah.
And she's like, who do you wish you could have killed? And he was like, both. Yeah. They kind of just chit chat about it. And then she's like, what's it like in Samara? And he says he has to prove himself over and over again, which...
Yeah, he's annoyed at that.
I was like, yeah, you're a newbie.
Yeah,
These people, what is wrong with you, right? I mean, he does have an awesome signet, and I guess he is, like, top dog. Well, he was top dog at... But, like, when you enter the real world, you're not top dog anymore.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We learn that Garrick is stationed with him, and that people judge him, being Xaden, more for his last name than the relic. So they're easier on Garrick.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, good to hear.
Yes. We learn that he warded her room against... No one can hear what's going on inside, and then no one can come in except for him and Violet.
And whoever she brings across, like
she has to hold their hand. Yeah. And then, like, all of a sudden, they're chit-chatting. He's basically like, you just need to tell me 3 words, which we all know what those 3 words are. Do you?
I trust you. I love you.
Yeah, I think it's one of the... I think it's I love you.
Uh-huh.
It could be I trust you. Something. But she won't say it. And then all of a sudden, he's got to go. Bodhi knocks on the door, right?
Yeah.
And did I miss any details that you wanted to talk about?
In the chit-chat, he asked how her week was. She said that Sloane hates her and that she thinks she's changing since she doesn't want to know the first year's names. And he just says it makes her a second year. Because he knows that the second year is when the rest of them lose their humanity. So, yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
That I noted.
It was kind of just like I miss you, but I don't really miss you.
Yeah.
So he leaves.
But before he leaves, he gives her a little note. And instructions on how to find him at Samara. And there, he warded his door only for her and him. No one else for him to bring in.
I guess that's true. I was kind of like, couldn't he just grab someone? That seems inconvenient for his friends, but maybe he doesn't hang out with his friends in his room.
Probably not.
Yeah, because she asked, did you ward this? Because Rhiannon apparently tried to come in and got bounced back.
And he said, try holding her hand next time or something.
Which I was like, wouldn't that be pertinent information for you to have told her like a week ago?
Yeah.
But
like, leave a note on the desk.
Yeah.
Hey, I warded your door. Here's your instructions.
Whatever.
Here's how you bring your friends in.
So, I mean, it was kind of an exciting chapter. You know, Violet actually kills someone with very little regret, which is pretty big for her. And we see Xaden again, which is kind of nice.
And she seems happy when she says, Xaden Ryerson wrote me a letter.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big deal when a boy leaves you a letter, you know? And yeah, that's kind of the end of the chapter. Not a lot, but I mean, there was that.
I mean, she did almost get killed and
I mean,
kill someone.
What's new?
True.
Right?
That's every other day at Basgiath. Just another day.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what she implies. Yeah. So.
All right. So then chapter 11. The opening quote is, I think, from the letter that he gave her.
Did you notice? Recovered correspondence?
I did notice that.
What do you think that means?
I don't know. Someone took it? Or someone read it? I don't know.
Oh, I felt like it meant like this is after everything has happened.
I think that's true, actually, because I think...
So, like, are they dead?
I don't know.
In the future?
Hold on, there's something at the beginning of the book.
Yeah, I think Jacinia writes it. If it's the same one as in Fourth Wing, right? Yeah,
the following text has been faithfully transcribed from Navarian into the modern language by Jacinia Neilward, curator of the Scribe Quadrant. So, if she's curator, then this is historical. So, are they dead at some point in the future after all 5 books? Presumably.
Or did she just, like, lose the letter? Or what do you think?
I don't know.
Doesn't that alarm you?
A little bit.
You're going to read all of these books. Again, it will take us years to finish all because she hasn't even finished this series, obviously.
Yes.
But, and then they're just going to die at the end?
Maybe.
That's a terrible... I mean, I don't know. You take what you want as recovered correspondence.
True.
But
Maybe someone
I was
stole it out
alarmed
of
when
her
I
room.
read that.
But it also... It could indicate that all the revolution stuff fails. If the same people presumably are still in charge, right? The archives are clearly intact or whatever. Possibly, I guess.
I mean, I don't know.
Basgiath is still there.
Yeah.
If she's the curator of the mysteries for the future of the book.
No, that's true. I don't know.
So the letter, the recovered correspondence, says that Garrick has always been his best friend. Then Garrick's dad was his dad's aide, basically his Dane, but trustworthy. And after Liam, Bodhi is the closest thing he has to a brother. So not much we didn't really already know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think it's just supposed to be either the shock of recovered or
True.
the fact that he, like, is kind of opening up to her and, like,
Yeah.
sharing things.
yeah. And then, so I was a bit annoyed. We don't get to read the letter.
Nope.
I wanted to read the letter.
He thought there'd be, like, a
I was
full-on page
expecting
of the letter.
You know, in the different font that indicates the letters. I was expecting the letter.
How disappointing for you.
Yes. It jumps.
Which is a little disappointing because she talks about how much she loves it and she's
Yeah,
memorized
She's
it.
already memorized it. It's just about him. Initially, I thought it was the next day, but it's 3 days later that it's jumped ahead. Once again, we're starting this. But she hasn't had any nightmares, which is good. Imogen doesn't want to hear about her sex life and won't admit that they're friends, which is kind of funny.
It's kind of funny.
She's like, no, we're not friends.
Because she's basically like, get over it and just get back together with him.
Right.
And then she's like, and she's like, I don't want to hear it. I'm not your friend. Go talk to Rhiannon.
And then Jacinia's in the quadrant for some reason. Violet admits to Imogen that she's distancing herself from her other friends. Blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, I'm going to go see my friend or whatever.
Yeah.
She says something and then they separate. So Jacinia brought her a copy of the...
Well, wait. Imogen's wary of Jacinia.
Oh, that's true. I didn't write this down.
She thinks that she's a threat, and she's like, she's not going to kill me. And Imogen knows sign language, too. So I'm like, does everyone know sign language in this world? They don't have a pin. But for sure they know sign language. Not to start the pin thing
Don't
again.
question it. Just don't
I mean, but they really...
Just
do?
don't question it. Just don't question it.
I mean, it's kind of shocking. I was expecting her not to know sign language.
Yeah.
But maybe it's... I mean, they know a bunch of languages, apparently. So maybe it's just a common language that they all know. That's pretty
Maybe
cool.
they have a lot of deaf people there.
I mean, that's cool
I guess
that
with
there's a lot of
dragons
deaf
roaring,
people,
it
but...
might go deaf.
I mean, it could be hand signals in the sky.
True.
Maybe it's a class at Basgiath.
Maybe.
So they can communicate.
Maybe. So she brought her a copy of The Gift of the First Six, one of the earliest accounts of the first writers that is allowed to be removed from the archives. So presumably there are other things that cannot be removed. So she's going to have to go on some heist into the archives, find the books, rappel down from the ceiling, Mission Impossible style.
You think so?
Maybe. I'm making this up right now. Ooh, she can use Xaden's shadows to lower her down.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, this is good. That's exactly what's going to happen. But Jacinia needs her help to read something in a dead language that Violet can apparently read.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, oh, maybe sign language is just a common language that they all know.
Yeah. And the sentence is about an ancient king who lived 1,000 years before Navarre existed. But the book's only 25 years old.
Yeah.
But apparently it was hand copied from the original. So
Again, with what pen?
she did say it was before they had the printing press.
I know. So a quill and
some
ink.
poor fool had to, some poor scribe had to write that down. So we learned that the archives are empty on Sundays. The third years are cycling home for break. So, here I had a question. The riders get dragons and the scribes get bikes? Cycles?
Oh.
That's how I understood
read it as
cycles.
that,
Unless
but
it was
maybe-
like they were cycling in and out, as in just like
I thought
coming
that
in and out.
I thought it meant cycling in and out, but maybe they get bicycles.
That's how I read it.
I mean, that's funnier to think
They're
about
cycling.
on their with their all their robes, and then like a dragon just like shoots by. I mean, I'm gonna choose to believe that because that's funny.
You're welcome. So then a second year from the third wing is dragged out of the academic building by two older riders, followed by Markham. Justinia looks all sheepish. Says she thinks it's her fault because the writer requested a book and she recorded the request. Like the rules that we learned a couple chapters ago says she has to do. So here's a little thing. That's going to come back. It's either going to come back to bite Violet or she's going to have to go do some Mission Impossible stuff so that her withdrawals from the archives are not recorded.
Well, what do you think they're doing to that guy?
Gonna go do something bad to him, I guess. I don't know.
Like, are they killing him?
Gonna
Or
go
are they
beat
just
him up, torture him.
taking him away, putting him in timeout? Like,
I can't imagine it's just putting him in timeout. So then, Violet asks what it was about, but she doesn't tell her.
yeah, she won't tell her.
So Violet feels vulnerable now. Can she trust Justinia?
I don't know.
Don't know. But then it jumps later in the day. So Sawyer is struggling with his RSC homework.
Yeah, they're like using a map or something.
Riddick is apparently very good at land navigation.
He said he's the land navigation god.
Yeah, he's like, why won't you just admit it? I'm a land navigation god.
Probably because he's being annoying about it. That's why I wouldn't admit it.
Yes. And then Rhiannon has mail for them.
Yep.
She's all excited to give everyone their mail. Violet got a letter from Mira.
Which she's slightly disappointed.
She's disappointed
She thinks
it
it's going to
wasn't.
be from Xaden.
Yes, she wasn't. She was disappointed with that. Then they walk up to the flight field. She says some stuff about why her and Xaden aren't sleeping together anymore, blah, blah, blah. Who really cares?
Now, on the mail, I also took recovered correspondence as they had taken, like he'd been writing her. Like, I know he just gave her a letter, but like, what if he had been writing her letters and they took it?
True.
Because we know they've been reading them and like redacting things. So what if they're just like, they don't want them to talk, so they're just taking their letters from each other.
Right.
I also read it as that, too.
Could be. But I feel like, didn't Xaden, someone made a comment that they were going to read everything they sent them anyway. I mean,
Yeah, but
maybe
he
he
could
sent
have
the
just
letter anyway.
could have just sent a letter.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I don't know if that's, I don't think it's that, but that was what I was thinking when I read this the first time.
We don't know. And then, so we learn that Mira has been reassigned to Athbean. Says she wants to visit on one of her trips to see, on one of Violet's trips to go see Xaden. And this is where they talk about that some of the letter has been redacted.
Which, she was surprised by it. And I'm like, like you just said, Xaden told you that they're going to read it. And like, why are you surprised that someone read your letter? She seems to sometimes, for as smart as she's supposed to be,
Incredibly stupid.
conveniently forget. I don't know, if someone had told me that, hey, they might read your letters, that maybe they're reading your letters and we're going to redact information.
Unless you thought they would only read the ones from Xaden, but it's like hers to him. But like, come on, girl, you're not that stupid.
I don't know.
I was surprised.
I was surprised she was surprised.
Yeah.
Or didn't draw back to be like, oh yeah, Xaden told me this would happen, or anything. Like, there was no like, oh, flashback. Oh yeah, I know about this. It was, I can't believe they did this. Like, of course they did. Also, don't they do this in the United States military? I thought they redacted information.
I would assume
if it's top secret.
I mean, yeah.
So, anyways.
So they get up to the flight field. Terran is, of course, the biggest dragon there.
Yeah, and he's like in the front spot, even though he's not supposed to be.
Yeah. And he looks bored. But I mean, none of the other dragons are gonna be like, "Hey, you're in my spot."
Yeah.
And Riddick apparently heard something about that there may be a new black dragon in the Vale.
Which she's like...
She says something to Taryn, and I forget exactly what she says, or he says. I'm pretty sure it's Andarna, isn't it?
I think that's what they're... Because she was black at the end of the last book, right?
I think so.
Or the beginning of this book, I guess.
I just wrote down pretty sure. So.
Well, I mean, she's alarmed because no one was supposed to see her, I guess.
Yeah.
But
she makes something up to Riddick. Like, oh, maybe they're just seeing Taryn or something.
Yeah.
Then Varrish, of course, comes up, makes a comment about how it would have been embarrassing if she was killed by a first year.
Yeah, how rude is he?
And
First off, he's like, nice necklace. What? That doesn't even make any sense.
I know.
I don't know. I hate
He's
him.
a jerk, for sure. And she doesn't know what his signet is.
No.
So we haven't learned that yet. It's probably not anything good.
Yeah.
Or anything boring, let's be honest. So he wants to see Andarna. Andarna, throughout some of these chapters, has been like popping up, and Violet keeps saying, go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Which for some reason I thought like she entered this dreamless sleep and it was just like out cold. There was no waking up or really anything like that for it. But it's kind of funny how she keeps popping up and getting yelled at by Violet.
Yeah, and he's like, you need to bring her. Or like, why isn't she here? And she basically is like, oh, she can't bear a rider. They know about the dreamless sleep because we've read about that book that they talk about the dreamless sleep. So why can't she say she's in the dreamless sleep? I don't understand why it's like a big secret.
Yeah,
you know
unless
what I
it's
mean?
like she's in the dreamless sleep earlier than she was supposed to be. Because didn't Violet think that using all her power or whatever?
Yeah, but how would the people know?
I don't.
She only knows that because the dragons told her. Like, is she afraid they're gonna like march up there and like go find her? But like the dragons would kill you. So I don't get why it's a secret that she's like in this dreamless sleep.
Right. Yeah.
Like, why can't she say she can't? She's sleeping. You know, she's growing. Like, she literally can't. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know it's like supposed to be like a big secret, but they obviously know about it if someone has written about it in their book.
Right.
At the one of the beginning things about, I think last episode we talked about it. So like, I don't get why.
Yeah.
It can't just be a simple.
Like, couldn't she ask Taryn, hey Taryn, is it okay if I tell him that she's in the dreamless sleep?
Yeah, I don't understand why it's a big secret.
But whatever.
It's kind of like, why is it a secret that she's black?
Because black dragons are rare and desirable, I guess. I don't know.
I guess, but she's already bonded. Like, who cares? And I guess it's because she was gold and now she's like, she's only gold because she's a baby and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, they're going to figure out at some point, right?
Yeah.
So.
But Taryn gives his classic line of dragons don't take orders from humans.
Because he's like, you need to bring her. Otherwise.
I'm going to punish you.
Yeah. And he kind of insinuates that Taryn has given Violet an easier path than like her fellow cadets, which is a little like,
yeah.
I mean, what? He didn't allow her to die because of all of this. Like, I don't like him.
No.
I don't like him.
No. He also comments that her father was writing a book on Feathertails and then she bonded one. So
Yeah, he's like, what a
coincidence.
Yeah, and she says, no, I don't think it's a coincidence. It's something else. It's
he had said it's ironic.
Yeah, yeah.
And she said coincidence.
Yeah.
Taryn says he knows nothing of her father's research, so who knows?
Yeah, and then he orders her to bring Andarna next week.
Yeah.
So
then Cowrie calls attention. The third years are there to demonstrate a running landing, which I thought the dragon was just going to come in and run along the ground. But then we see Dane come on in on Kath. Dane slides down to perch on his claw while the dragon's still flying. In the middle of this, Taryn says, "This is unadvisable for you," which is funny. Basically, like, you can't do this.
I think it's unadvisable for anyone.
Because then Dane jumps down, like Kath slightly slows down. Dane then jumps off while running. and then slows to a stop. And that's the running landing.
I mean, I get why it might be necessary, but also it just seems like you're just asking for your person to fall off of you, right?
Yeah. Oh. Taryn also notes that adaptation will be necessary.
Yeah, and basically she's like, how can you like adapt this to me? And he's like, meaning he will adapt his request or I will eat him.
Yeah, the Dragon Watcher will adapt his request or I'll have an early lunch. He's got some good lines.
Yeah, he does.
So Violet notes to Bodhi that Cowrie doesn't know what's out there. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he would be teaching them faster ways to get off of the ground.
Yeah.
On it because of the whole like circle of death thing.
Yeah.
So then, once again, jumps a few days later.
Mm-hmm.
Bodhi tells her to tell him that they are still, him being Xaden, that they're still working on the next shipment. It is still raw. And they won't say what the shipment is.
Yeah.
Challenges apparently open up in a week.
Mm-hmm.
Plans to start her poisoning back up.
Mm-hmm.
Bodhi mentions Catronia. No clue who this is. Violet has the same thoughts. He's basically like, crap, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, please don't tell him that I, like, what's the chance you'll forget this so
And
that he
she's
doesn't
like,
beat me
none.
up when he gets here. So who do you think it is?
Another girl that Xaden was with, obviously.
That's what is implied, right?
His high school sweetheart.
Do you think it'll be a love triangle?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Apparently he's had 2 people try to jump him in the bathing chamber this week. And then, of course, our favorite character comes up. Varrish. He's there. And he says, you will delay your launch. Because she's, going to go off to meet Xaden. Because it's like the middle of the night.
Yeah.
He orders one of the lieutenants that's with him to search her bag. And instead of just kind of rummaging through it, they just dump all of it all on the ground and start like flinging it everywhere.
How rude.
And one of them, the other one actually comments that, like, was that necessary? We learn here that the first 6 were not the first riders, just the first to survive. So I guess other people had tried to ride the dragons or something. I don't really know what that means. But they don't find anything. She gets a bit sassy with Varrish when he wants to look through her physics book. She says, like, need a refresher or something. And he says he's going to punish her for dereliction of duty since Andarna didn't show up again.
Yeah. So.
Obviously she didn't.
Which, again, I'm like, why can't they just say?
Yeah. He would still probably punish her anyway because he's that kind of guy. Then Bodhi, he knew that they were going to search her, which is why he walked her out because he made a comment about him basically being in charge of her or something and like responsible for her. And so she's all mad at him for using her as an experiment. He notes to check Taryn. And I was like, when did he store stuff on the dragon? On Taryn, like, here, hold this. Like he's a pack mule. Sure enough, they did.
Yep.
They're carrying something. I assume it's more of the weapons. Just not as many or something. I don't know. And then the chapter ends with every wing beat taking us closer to the front lines, ... and Xaden.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, girl, cool it. Like, you'll get there. You'll get to him.
Well, and they also
You're all
know...
mad at him, but you don't want to be mad at him.
They also know that Imogen and Aya were also attacked today as well.
Oh, yes. So like, it's not just her.
It's not just her.
It's all of them.
Everyone's kind of getting targeted, so... I don't know.
Look out.
Yeah. So what are you thinking so far? Well, that was the end of the chapter, so the end of our section of reading, but what do you think?
It's pretty good. It's a little more action-packed than just going to class. And,
yeah.
I mean, I guess not that Fourth Wing wasn't action-packed,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's a little less back and forth to class. So.
How do you feel about the Xaden not being, like, as prevalent in the story?
That's weird.
Yeah, I didn't really like it. I think, it's kind of different. There's a lot of, like, they don't obviously talk a lot because of the distance. So it'd be cool if their bond allowed them to talk. I don't know why it's like a walkie-talkie.
It has a range on it.
Yeah, but
It's best not to question it again.
I'm gonna question everything. That's the whole point of this podcast.
An extender? Can she like put something on her head that extends the range?
No,
Does
apparently
she get
not.
better reception if she's sitting on Taryn?
Well, what do you think of Varrish?
Well, he's obviously a huge jerk.
I mean, he's the perfect villain, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's leading up to being a villain. I mean,
Yes.
you're supposed to hate him. I
Yes.
think that's what I
Yes.
mean by villain.
Yes.
But I think he reminds me of the character Umbridge in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like, you want to just scream while you're reading it because it's so infuriating. So he was a surprise character that I didn't realize. Like you didn't kind of expect someone like that in this book. So, well, no predictions, no crazy predictions yet.
No, not really.
Do you think the book will take place the entire time at the school?
No.
No?
I think there will be some action outside of the school.
Well, yeah, but like, do you think they'll always it would be kind of like Fourth Wing where the whole book takes the whole year?
Maybe.
Okay. I'm just curious. I'm just asking
I don't know.
questions to get you to.
I mean, according to
Think about
Brennan,
it.
they have 6 months,
True.
which is probably more like 5 now. Or 6.5, or 5.5, probably.
Never know.
So, we'll see.
Well, no crazy predictions yet.
No.
Yeah, there's nothing really to predict yet because they're just kind of going to class and doing their thing. It's only, I guess, the second week of this because she is going to see Xaden. So.
I'll predict that Varrish is going to be killed by one of the two. Xaden or Violet.
You think so?
I'll predict that. Or Zane's going to have... or not Zane. I keep saying Zane. I feel like I've said that before. Combining the two of them. Dane is going to have a redemption arc and he's going to kill the bad guy. Or sacrifice himself or something. He's going to...
You think you think he's going to have a redemptive
I
arc?
think he could have a redemption arc.
Guess you'll see if you keep reading.
I will.
Yeah, anything else you want to add? No? Well, next week we're reading chapters 12 through 14. So another 3 chapters. And yeah, thanks for listening. Go follow us on Instagram. Leave us a review, please. And yeah, I think that's it for us. So we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
No goodbye this time.
No.